Hi, this is Wayne Hall back again to talk about indie comics that you can buy through your local shops. And I have really good news this time. This little ad came across my Facebook feed. And you'll notice it's a book called The Stuff of Legend. It's returning 9/9, which is coming very soon. I'm such a big fan of this book. I have the latest issue right in front of me. This is Volume 5, Part 3, A Call to Arms. That I checked, this book actually came out in 2017. Yeah, it's been hanging around that long. I love this book. I got the first two omnibuses, or omnibi, or whatever you want to call them. And if you notice, the covers kind of work together, which I really like. This is the first two series. They're in the middle of the third, although it's been a long time. They've been in the middle of the third. And they got distracted going off into gaming. Somebody decided to make a Stuff of Legend game, and that has pulled them apart for a long, long time. Again, this is the most recent. Notice that it's the mouse guard almost exactly size. So it's a little difficult to get and to store. So I love this book when I first came across it. This was the very first one that's a Toy Story in a more serious and more adult vein. And so you'll notice that they have certain. It's also done in a very sepia tonish kind of look. The art is for that. You see the toy. This looks like Thomas the Toy Train in there. There's a whole bunch of different ones. There's a pig, who is a really no good son of a gun in here. You can see some of these. They're kind of trapped. There's a duck and a bear and things like that involved. And these are all mostly toys involved, and it's really interesting. I love the sepia tonish kind of look to it. Very interesting, very different. This is the bad guy who's involved. The story really centers around a young boy, and these are mostly his toys. And what happens is they come to life, or he goes into a universe where they live, and he has to deal with a whole bunch of different things. And by the time we get to this is volume 5, not all of them have survived. In fact, pretty quickly one of them goes, and I won't say which one, but let's just say some of them. Here is where the bad guy is confronting the young boy right there. Not good. Bad things are happening, and you can see he's talking to the boy there. This is big stuff. The really interesting thing is that this is a very unusual take on toys. Toy Story, everybody they hide, when the humans are coming around. These guys are not quite that way. Like I said, it's a much more adult look at things. The soldiers are unhappy, shall we say. And, I love the different take on it. Now, this book started coming out, if I remember correctly, about 2015 or 2014. I've seen other adult things. There's a local guy, Joel Rodriguez, who does a whole nother set on this, which is a very good take on this thing. Very surprising stuff he does with that. This was the first one I ever saw that did it, and that doesn't mean that Joel's isn't good. It's really great. But this was my first experience where I got to look at Toy Story from a different perspective. So I love the fact that the book is a different size. I love the fact that it's a young boy having to deal with. We always think toys are going to be happy and everything's going to get along. You can see right here that they're not very happy, and this is far along. Of course, it takes a while for all this stuff to unfold. And if you can get the early copies, good luck. I don't know why it is, and this always frustrates me. Something that's super good, I have to fight to get a hold of. I mean, I am desperately asking always the store I go to at the time, to please get this book. What do I have to do to get this book? So I'm always desperate to do. I'm still trying to get Mike Reicht, the one of the writers of it, to come on. I talked with the artist one time at a convention, Charles Paul Wilson III, and he said he would come on my podcast. So I'm going to be after him shortly, because a new issue is coming out, and it's the first time in 3 or 4 years we've gotten new quality stuff. So it's called The Stuff of Legend, and of course stuff has to do with toys and stuffing and good things like that. It's always a fascinating thing to me when people look at toys from a different perspective like this is. It's just amazing to me. I in some ways I wish they hadn't gotten off into like a board game or whatever it was, and that distracted them for a long time. I know it was tough to do this. This takes a lot of work and a lot of money to get these things out, but they've got a whole bunch of fans. Let me just quickly read the back here. It says, the year is 1944. Thousands of miles away, an Allied force struggles along a war-torn beach in a strange land, outnumbered and far from home. But here in a child's bedroom in Brooklyn, our heroes, a small group of toys loyal to their human master, fight an unseen war to save him from every child's worst nightmare, the boogeyman. That's the guy I was showing you. This guy here. That's the boogeyman. Who the boogeyman is a big surprise. There's so many good things about this book, and it's so hard to get. This thing I can't understand why the quality stuff has to fight for an existence. But anyway, the young child, the toys go through things. Like I said, the pig is. I don't want to reveal too much, but he kind of turns out to be something of a nasty, which is interesting. So I really like it. But the art is good. Like I said, the sepia tone look to the books are always kind of interesting to me. The size is different, like I said. So if you can get the Stuff of Legend, I highly recommend it. You can get it through the store. It's from Third World, and it's th3rdworld.com. If you can't get your store to order it, you can get it through your store. I know I get them through local stores. Highly recommend this book, I have to say. So let's get to the grading, as we always must do. Let's start off with the writing. The writing is so surprising, and the characters are so interesting. The pig being unpredictable has been a really good thing. Really love that. So I have to give the writing an A. It's so superbly good, so unexpected. I love to be surprised, and this does that. The art, some people don't like the sepia tone, but I do. It gives me a very, very different feel. Now, the one advantage I had was I caught up on this online. You can order these digitally as well. You can buy them. So I got to read like a whole bunch of them at once. And let me tell you, it's a really interesting experience to do that. But the art to me is really good. I'm sure 4-Color gets more respect and stuff like that. So I'll give this like a B+, but I really, in my own head, want to say A+, because it's so, an A at least. It's really, really good. Something different. The lettering is good. The lettering is done, it kind of looks hand-done to me, or at least at the lettering, I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if I can show it in such a way. It doesn't look like it's typed, but these days the lettering can be that way. So I'll give it a good B. I like it that it's a little different. It's not your standard comic lettering. I like that. Literary merit. It's been 3 years since this book has put out a new issue, and I'm still panting to get a new one. I think this is the kind of book that decades from now people will be reading and really enjoying. I think it's a great story. It's a universal topic, children and their toys. I think that, like I said, 20, 30 years from now, people could sit down and read this and still enjoy it. So I would give it an A on that. Fun factor, this is not a funny book. The fun factor is really low. I would have to give it a C. There's dark humor a lot. Gosh, a lot of my books tend to be that way. I tend up doing with dark humor kind of books. But gosh, it's so good. It's really good. I'm not necessarily interested in humor in the books like this. Overall grade. There used to be must-see television on NBC on Thursday nights. Must-see reading, must-read book. If you get a chance to if somehow you can get the Stuff of Legend, I highly recommend it. I would give this an A or A+ because it is just hard to put down. You start to read it, you're locked. I mean, I went out and bought these hardcovers, which were super expensive and hard to get. I found them on Amazon. I bought them instantly because I wanted to make sure I had those, because this is a book I'm going to want to keep forever. I can't wait for this Wednesday on the 9th when I can get more of this. So, Stuff of Legend. Get it, read it, enjoy it. And that's it for this time. I'll be back next time with more comics that you can order through your shop. But until then, keep reading your comics.